the BarnBurner Network on Zingo TV Channel 250. Please remember to download both the BarnBurner and Zingo TV apps from the respective iOS and Android app stores, as both apps are absolutely free. While you download, please make sure to rate and leave a comment, as we want to hear from you folks. And Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast and, of course, Amazon Fire TV sticks. Roku sticks are also available on all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. So I'm your host, Noel Clubb of Club Tracks here on the BarnBurner Network. And this is a very special episode for me, like a dream come true for me, really, is my big hero as a kid, Kim Mitchell, folks. Here he is, Kim Mitchell.
This is a dream come true for me too, Noel.
Oh, good stuff.
Can I ask you, do you have a studio on Dundas West in Keele in Toronto?
No, I don't. I wish I did.
Okay. Wrong thing. There's a TV studio I drive by all the time. I thought.
Oh, is that right? Eh?
Zoom. I thought it said Zoom.
Yeah, that was Zoom. It's a studio of our own household these days.
Sure.
Yeah, which is very different too.
So I'll interview you this time.
Cool. Okay, you're on.
So tell me about yourself. Now, like, how long have you been doing this?
This is actually quite new for me. So I started doing this 3-4 months, believe it or not. So I started doing a show called TKO Countdown, because I used to write for the editor-in-chief of MMA Crossfire. So they tapped on the shoulder to do a show called TKO Countdown, back a few months ago. And so I went on the show as a panelist, just kind of interviewed different fighters and UFC fighters.
Right. I was going to say, this is not music. You're talking about, are you talking about UFC?
Yeah. UFC fighters, MMA fighters, Bellator fighters, bare knuckle fighters. And so they asked me to do my own show as well.
Okay, so you're in Etobicoke, which is a part of Toronto. It's the west end of Toronto.
Yeah.
Now there's a gym on Kipling that has MMA fighters training there. Do they not? Extreme Couture?
Actually, that's correct, sir. That's correct. And they've been there for, about 10, 12 years?
Yeah, I worked out there sometimes. I'm not a fighter, I might be fooling you because I look like one.
You're a fighter in a different kind of way, in my opinion.
I sure am. I pick up that guitar and I give her all I got.
Just give her your best, man. It's like, get out of my way. I'm playing. Come on.
So what's your question? No, I'm just kidding.
Really, that's what I actually want to say. This is pretty cool for me because, I'm here among the cool cat, being Kim Mitchell.
We're all cool cats, man.
Yeah, we're all cool.
Well, I don't consider myself a cool cat. I'm actually a self-deprecating kind of guy. I just get up in the morning at 6:30 and walk my dog and just do regular stuff. If people hung around with me for a day, they'd go, "You're not that cool." You're just
I think you're pretty
dog
cool.
And eat boring food and sit in front of a computer too much.
Especially right now during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Pretty rough, tough stuff. Actually.
It is. Yeah, it's going on. Like, wow. You wake up and you go, it's been 6 months.
Yeah.
And because some people, some close friends of mine and stuff, they're like, man, I'm kind of losing my mind. It's like, well, really, it's been 6 months. It's half a year. So.
That's right. And it could go on longer way things are looking right now, right?
Absolutely.
It's spiking lately, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah. All the Labor Day weekend and school, kids going back to school. I've heard the lineups for testing have gotten very long again.
Yeah.
A friend of mine went to get tested because he's in a shaky situation and thought, well, I better get tested, and went, wow, I couldn't believe the lineups. Whereas before, you drive by the place and there's nothing. So anyway, what do we do?
Exactly. Just make the best of it, right? Make the best of it. That's all we can do.
Try and rock out once in a while.
Yeah, I got to rock out for sure. Definitely more often now with all this going on. No doubt.
Do you see this in the background?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's
called Bar Babies.
Bar Babies. Oh, it's very appropriate.
Yeah, it's Bar Babies. I was in a band called Max Webster.
Yes.
Long time ago, and the keyboard player Terry Watkinson used to do all our album covers, and that's one of his paintings.
Oh, is that right? Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
He's a wild dude when he picks up a paintbrush.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. Yeah, me too.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
The fact that you even did your record, you did album covers, but with Max Webster. That's just another cool point.
Yeah, the one of the most popular records Max did was, people always bring it up. Oh, the Blockheads cover. We never
Yeah,
really had a name for that record. It was just Max Webster, and
yeah.
but he did the cover of that, and I always thought that was just such a great graphic with the three eyes and I thought one day I'm going to get a suit made out of material. It's going to be all blockheads, and I'll be best man at somebody's wedding.
Yeah, really.
Show up and then get kicked out.
Well, I would buy one for sure.
Hey, there's an idea. We could do merch. Okay,
Right there, you're on. Cool.
head merch. Hey, buy this suit.
The official Max Webster debut record suit. Right on. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Well, I gotta ask you, going back to like your beginning, when did it all start for you? When did you just discover you wanted to become a musician and a singer songwriter?
It all started on my father's lap. I think at a very early age, somewhere between 5 and 8 years old, um, in a little town, Sarnia, Ontario, sitting on his lap watching Ed. I may have been Ed Sullivan show, but watching Elvis Presley.
Is that right? Watching
And
Elvis.
that's when my life. I think my life changed. Then, that's what my parents said. That's when my life changed because I didn't want to go outside and play tag. I didn't want to do all that stuff. I wanted a guitar. I wanted a guitar. They had to get me a guitar, so they got me a
Interesting.
guitar. And it wasn't the adoration they said that he had. You just were focused on the guitar. It was all about that. It was about when I think back now, being the mature person that I am, I think it was the vibe of rock and roll. It was the pulse of rock and roll that grabbed me and grabbed millions of others. It wasn't the
Absolutely.
screaming girls and stuff like that. It came later when, I'm gonna get in a band because band members, girls come
That's
and
right. Yeah.
and they, so
So that's definitely the
and,
attraction.
and then they didn't tell you that all goes away later. When you start writing weird songs, it's just all guys out there, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But it's
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh, very true. What was your first guitar you had?
Well, I can remember my first guitar. My parents did buy. It was called a Stella. It
Oh
was an
yeah.
acoustic guitar, and I think Stella actually is still a company that exists. It was an acoustic guitar, and I played it and played it. Now, you have to remember, as a young boy, I didn't even know how to tune it, so I knew nothing. They just got me a guitar, and I played it and drove my mother nuts. And I remember my mother at one point threw it down the stairs, and it broke in half. Broke it, threw it down into the basement because I was driving her nuts. And they saw how upset I was. So they got me a real guitar and some lessons. I
Oh,
think
very
around
good.
the age, I think around the age 11.
Oh, age 11. Wow, still very young.
Hmm. And I'm going to say at 13, I was in my first band.
13, eh?
Yeah, always playing with older dudes. I remember, I think I was in about grade. I think I was still in elementary school, and I was playing with dudes in high school and playing high school dances. And so on Fridays, you go to school, grade 8, say, and you kind of dressed up for the gig because you're going to the gig after. And you remember the principal coming in, and actually he made fun of me and would point me out and go, "Oh, what are you wearing? Oh, you smell like you got aftershave on." Oh, like pointing you out. It's like, man, I'm not going to play kick the can or play tag. I'm going to make $25 at a school dance.
Yeah, pretty
So
cool.
what's your point? I got turned off with school and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
at a pretty young age.
yeah, yeah. I got you there for sure. So, what was your first band that you formed?
The
The
Gladiators.
Gladiators. I love the name.
Sure, yes, Gladiators, and played bass on a six-string guitar. Didn't have a bass.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, no, it was just because I didn't know what I was doing. I was playing all these. I'm just playing the first two strings, the low strings on the guitar with this band, and they my parents eventually bought me a Fender bass. Boy, back in the
Wow,
60s, if I had that Fender bass still, that thing would be worth
worth a lot of money.
10 grand, 15 grand. Um, but I didn't like it. All of a sudden I got bass guitar and I was like, no, I don't like this. I like guitar better. So I think I quit the band or got kicked out or something. I was like, I don't want to play a bass guitar anymore. But that band went on. It's an interesting story if you want me to tell it.
Please do. No, please do.
Okay, so the Gladiators, we were young kids, and we went on a talent show called Rita Bell's Starlit Stairway, which was a show out of Detroit, a
Oh,
TV show
yeah.
out of Detroit, and it was my first, as a young boy, I guess my first um, exposure to, I'm going to say racism. There was we were the finalists against this very talented girl from Detroit, and her family was in the audience, and we played a cover tune called "Love Potion Number 9."
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember what she sang, but I just remember standing there going, "Oh my God, she's so good!" Because I was raised on Motown.
Yeah.
Like I was already exposed to Motown music, so I loved that music. I love the Four Tops. I love the Temptations. And here was this female girl, dark skin, and just I was like, wow, I remember being almost having chills, and we still won.
Is that right? Interesting.
And I didn't think we deserved to win because she was way better, and I felt kind of uncomfortable about that moment. And shortly after that, the Detroit race riots started. I believe it was in the 60s,
68, wasn't it?
68. Yeah. So I'm not going to say shortly after, but after that. So um, anyway, that's interesting. It's great. You know that. Anyway, it was just, I remember, you're a young kid. You don't know about any of this stuff. And yet I remember standing there in the TV studio going, she's going to win. Her whole family's here. She was great.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, and the Gladiators went, I'm like,
Feel kind of embarrassed.
I did. I felt awkward. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Quite interesting. So when did you guess was the next band you do kind of discover the guitar, or you became the guitarist in that group after
Yeah. I graduated to guitar, real guitar.
that? You evolved into the
Yes,
guitar.
we were called the Quotations, and I think some of them, yeah. I was a guitar player all of a sudden. And that was a cool band. I all of a sudden liked that band because we were doing some cover tunes, we're
Yeah.
doing some Motown stuff, a little bit of psychedelic stuff. And then there was a songwriter in there named Jim Chevalier. He was from Sarnia, Ontario as well. And I always thought he was the most creative dude ever. And he still is. I still look up to him. And he was writing stuff. So we were doing his material. So that's the first exposure to original material and having somebody in the band go, okay, I got a song here. And here's how it goes. So it was neat.
Very cool. Very cool. You
Am I
actually,
babbling on too much? Just tell me to shut up. Okay.
oh no, I actually love it. Hey, I love it, man. This is
All right.
great.
Good times, Noel.
Get to talk to you directly. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Sort of.
Well, I think it's very awesome. For me, it's awesome. But
Well,
I gotta say,
still
oh,
on a
sorry.
screen. Right? That's all.
Let's ask you too. How do you guys form? How do you get involved with Max Webster? How did it all start?
Okay, so I did a show band stint rather than going back to school. I lived in Toronto at 17 years old with sort of a version of the Quotations. We turned into a band called Zoom. We moved to Toronto. We played a few gigs, and then I swear this is a true story. We had to break up because the refrigerator in our house was out back of the house. So when the weather started to get warm, the fridge didn't work. So everybody's like, we can't feed ourselves. So we're moving back to Sarnia.
Oh
There's
wow.
paying your dues. And then I was going to go back to school, and somebody got hold of a buddy of mine knew somebody who was played keyboards, and they gave me they gave him my number, and he goes, "You want to come on the road with a show band?" So I was like, show band. So I did a little show band stint, went to the Isle of Rhodes in Greece, stayed there, or lived there for a year, played with this band, and then got homesick and hooked up with a bass player from the States who was teaching in Windsor, and he wanted to move to Toronto, and I wanted to move to Toronto to take guitar lessons.
Oh,
So he said, "Do you want to start a band in Toronto? I'll meet you in Toronto. Let's jam." Okay. So that's how Max was. So we met And we had a jam. It was really uncomfortable. It was a terrible jam, but we decided, okay, we're going to have a band anyway. And that's how Max Webster started. And how that name came about was he was in a band in the States called Family at Max. And they did a song called Song for Webster.
Huh.
And the guitar player in that band was Daryl Sturmer, who ended up playing with Phil Collins
No
for
way.
his whole solo career. Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's how Max. I was kind of like, he goes, "Well, what do you wish we call the band?" I'm like, I don't know. I think something like Jethro Tull, like someone, a name of somebody who's not in the band.
Yeah. The Pink
That was a
Floyd.
long answer, Noel.
That
Sorry.
was a great answer. It's a great answer, sir. As always, great answers from you. So, gonna move it on here. So, for when you're writing, are you writing like because you actually had help in the lyric department? So it comes to guitar. Do you write more songs through lyrics, or is it mostly through guitar? Like, was your writing experience initially, early on, in the early days?
Initially, early on, it was both ways. I got hooked up with a excuse me, a friend from Sarnia, Ontario, who was like, "Yeah, I write poetry." Hey, sure. What's that mean? And we started to write songs together. And his name was Pi Dubois.
Right,
So,
right.
we started to write tunes together, and sometimes he'd throw me stuff that would be a lyric or three, four lines, or sometimes I'd have a little riff. So there was no set thing, Noel. It was always I go, hey, I have a riff here, and he'd be like, oh, okay. Well, then he'd put a piece of paper in front of me, like, what about singing this line to it? There was never really anything
Your
complete,
structure.
complete from him,
Yeah.
except Patio Lanterns, which was the verses of Patio Lanterns. But most of the time it was like early Max Webster stuff. Tomorrow don't be here today. Take a cruise, take a holiday. I was like, well, I like that. That was a nice vibe to it. And then it ended up being a song called Hangover on the first record. So
Great record, great song.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Does Alka Seltzer even exist anymore? I don't know.
Yeah.
Alka Seltzer, Tang, and a 50, and it's all over. I got a hangover.
Very true. So it actually comes to like the song "Hangover." Where'd that riff come from? It came from like a jamming session. Like where'd that riff come from when you're writing "Hangover"?
That's a really simple riff. I can't remember that. You're asking questions like before the days of yore. um,
Way back.
yeah, I was just who knows. I probably was just serving the song and the lyric. So I figured probably that this is like, tomorrow, don't be here today, headache kind of music. And it
Yeah.
can't be a pretty thing. So it's a kind of an annoying riff.
I like
What
it.
is an annoying riff? Because having a hangover is annoying. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it worked. And all the feedback where people are going, I mean, even the engineer, when he's mixing, he's like, oh God. I'm like, yes. Okay.
That's what I want right there.
It's working.
Oh, right on. So when you actually wrote, like, you're working on your first album with Max Webster, how long did it actually take for you guys to write and record that first album together?
Well, we were a working band and playing all the time. So, and there was only so much money
Yeah.
we'd have. And most of the times when you go to a studio, it would be in the middle of the night because studios during the daytime would be servicing car companies, beer companies,
Right.
the
Yeah.
people that had money and they're doing commercials. In the evenings would be cheap rock bands who are trying to make records. So that was us from midnight till 6 in the morning. So I think we did that record probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Really?
But you're going like,
No, that's pretty amazing.
12 till 6 in the morning. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
every 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Man. Yeah, we're rocking, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, I mean, at this day and age, that's pretty impressive.
It is considering what did Pink Floyd take for the wall? Like,
A long time.
yeah.
That's a long time, for example. Yeah.
Well, yeah, with Digital Satan, and Pro Tools and all that stuff, a cut and paste and auto tune, people can spend a long time making music now. I spent a long time doing my latest record, but only because I'd come down and work an hour. I'd go, all right, I'm going to sing this song like 3 times and grab, and then walk away from it for a few days and then come back and do 3 more and then maybe 3 more. And then a week later, come back at it and go, what's the best take of all these 9 tracks?
Right.
So there's pluses to all that as opposed to you're in a studio. We have to finish the song tonight. So yep, we're recording it and we're singing it, and there's a beauty in that too. There's a thing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's the way most of it works now.
Well, actually, fast forward to that, your new record. So it's your first record in 13 years. And how long actually for you to take to record it all?
I lost count.
Yeah.
Well, I did because I wasn't. What's the hurry?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm an older dude. I wasn't even planning on making a record. I was
Yeah, right.
happy to play Rock and Roll Duty. I'm a Wild Party. All we are.
Yeah.
The lanterns at my shows. People like it. It's all fine. I like this. I love my life. And then it wasn't until Greg Wells, my producer, came along and heard these demos and went, "We need to record this stuff. Your audience needs to hear this stuff." So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So it took a little while because where I'm sitting is where I recorded it. Kind of. Well, I recorded it in Los Angeles, but then I'd come back and do vocals and do some guitar stuff here. But so I'm going to say a couple of years,
Couple years.
a year, couple. Yeah, but
Yeah.
let's remember, like I come down for a couple hours. I have a life. It's
Yeah, exactly.
I have a dog. I have children. I have, so
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I totally understand that.
it's not like, okay, if you were to add up all the hours, it was probably a few months.
Yeah, gotcha. It's over 2 years.
Yeah. I just take
Yeah.
I walk away from it for a few months, even like my.
Yeah, exactly. So that song "Wishes," what was the inspiration behind "Wishes"?
Well, it was just a poem that I saw in a waiting room. I don't usually read poetry. Like, who picks up a book of poetry in a waiting room? You're too uptight, right, about what's about to happen to you.
Yeah.
So it was a book of poetry, and I literally opened it up to the middle of the book, and "Wishes" was there. And I read it, and I kind of filled up. I remember kind of filling up at the lyric and just loved what it was saying about, yeah, we wish for beauty, we wish for wealth, we wish for all this stuff. Some of us wish for city streets, but there's simpler things we can wish for, and hopefully those are the things we get before we die.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, that was the vibe of the lyric, and I was like, oh, I have to write a song to this. So from there, that was the jumping off point. And I got the book and started to write the tune.
Because I find it very, very introspective as a song. It's very, very impressive.
I'm very proud of the song. Really proud of it. Yeah, if I may say so, as a self-deprecating. Well, I could say, well, I think it all sucks, but no, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. I think it's a great record. I mean, it's a long wait for us fans, and to hear this was like, this is a great little record.
Yeah, people. The thing I love about it is people who know my work have really liked it.
Yeah.
It's not like, I think there's one comment I read online somewhere where one dude went, "Yeah, it's a nice little ditty. Now let's rock." I was like, easy.
Yeah, really, please.
You already have Rock and Roll Duty and Wild Party and all this Max Web. It's like, hey, let's talk to you when you're
yeah,
later on in life.
Exactly.
Come on, man. Let's party till 4 a.m.
What's wrong with you, man?
What's wrong with you, man? Let's get it going. Hey, that yeah,
that turned up pretty loud.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all cool though.
That is cool. Yeah, that's cool. I'm actually going to go back to because I mean your first album was 1984. That was a great record. That debut you put out. It's loaded with great tracks. I have to ask you, like a lot of people are asking me, where did the song "Go for Soda" come from?
Go for Soda. It's, first of all, it's Go for Soda. It's not Go for a Soda. I always like to correct people, and it's just a small thing because I sometimes say Go for a soda. It was, I remember it very specifically being at a party with Pi Dubois,
Hmm.
my co-writer, and we were in a kitchen, and it was one of those schmoozes where there's a lot of people in a house, a lot of people, and a lot of stuff going on, and we were like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And then I said, I'm gonna go. I've kind of had enough of this because those big schmoozes kind of they wear you down quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, let's go for soda. Nobody hurts, nobody cries." And I stopped because he'd blurt out stuff like that all the time because he jammed with the English language all the time. And I went, "Wow, that's amazing. I love that." I said, "Write that down." And he grabbed a napkin off a table with cake and stuff like that. He pulled out his pen, and he says, "I can write 1,000,000 of those. Go for soda. Nobody hurts, nobody cries." And then he wrote another one. It's better than slander. It's better than lies. I said, "Okay, you hang on to that."
Yeah.
That's how it started. And then the music part was kind of inspired by um the song was called Summer Nights in Summer Nights in Sausalito? It was like that. There's a song called Summer Nights in Sausalito. I believe that's what it's called. And I like the riff. And that's
Yeah.
where that dum dum ba so and then the sort of riff came later and that's how Go for Soda started. And it's funny because when it was released, it was exactly at the same time as We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister came out.
Right. Yeah.
And we were on the same label, and our songs went er, 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 er. And then all of a sudden theirs went and ours went just a little bit, and the label went, yeah, forget that Kim Mitchell guy.
You guys in makeup can keep
But
going.
so they went from international hit, and we were like, sort of an American hit.
Yeah.
Sort of, because it was.
It was.
It did well.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
It was funny,
It's a great story because I mean,
and the interesting part of that story is Dee Snider went into radio later and had a radio program for a long time, as did I. Yeah.
Exactly.
Except I'm more handsome.
Well, I thought you'd be more handsome for sure. Well, I was gonna say actually, when you were on Q17 years ago, I really did miss your radio show when you especially had that "I Wish I Wrote" segment.
Damn, I wish I wrote that. Yeah.
Great piece.
Had someone come up to me just yesterday and saying, they said, "Oh, it was an elderly lady," and she goes, "Oh, my son really misses you on the radio." That's just nice to hear once in a while.
Oh, you're great.
It's hard work. It's hard work. Radio. People think, oh, it must be easy turning on a microphone and just talking. It's not. It's
like, no, because you need content to talk about, and
there's a craft to it. Yes, there's a craft, and you have to work hard at anything to do well at it, right?
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. So I guess you don't really miss your days in radio with that answer.
It's my days.
Do you miss your days in radio?
No. It was great. It was a great 11 years. They treated me well. I love it, and move over, Rover, and let someone else take over. It's all cool. There's a bit of a pity party for about 2 weeks when I walked out of that building after 11 years, and then I went, oh, I guess I'm going back to being a rock guitar player.
Yeah, that's how I remembered it too. When you left, you went right back to playing live again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doing a lot of shows. Very, very cool.
What's behind you, Noel? Is that a gold record or platinum record?
I wish it was a gold record. Here,
over your left side, is it?
Yeah, actually, my left side. So that's actually my plaques from Cabbagetown Boxing Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From years ago, from the 1990s.
Oh, okay.
And I got George Chevallo on my right.
Oh, I know Mitch.
Yeah.
Mitch Chevallo, yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, small.
Yeah. He works out at Extreme Couture.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He worked out at Extreme Couture and sweet cat, man. And yes. Man, what a that's a crazy story, that family. It's like,
isn't it? Truly a crazy story.
Yeah. He's a sweetheart of a dude, and he was very nice to me, and
Yeah,
boy, like strong, physically fit, and
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, the whole family I thought were fantastic people. Really, really, actually quite warm.
yeah, yeah. I remember sitting, sitting on my father's lap watching George Chuvalo. Did he? He didn't go down, did he ever? Did,
Never did know. Just like
I
a
mean,
grand champ.
he lost, but he
Yeah,
never went
never
down,
went
did he?
down. Never went down exactly.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Is it? You truly. Even Ali said he was the biggest puncher he ever faced in his entire career was George Chuvalo.
I think Mitch said once that his dad went down once because his mom hit him in the head with a frying pan when she was pissed off. He says, I think that's okay that I say that because yeah, well, I think the only time I saw my father ever go down was like when my mom was really pissed off at him when she lambasted him once with a frying pan in the head, and he went down on one knee and went, Jesus, Mark.
What was that for?
Yeah. I see
Oh, right.
he's still alive, right?
Yes, he is.
Wow,
Yes,
okay.
he
'Cause
is.
I know, I understand he's had some health problems or something like that.
Yeah, he's had some off and on problems for a few years now. What's amazing is every time I go to when we had live shows, was amateur or pro, he's always at the shows, and that's just fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
he'd come in, say hello, taking photographs and
Yeah.
shaking hands. I think that's fantastic, man.
No, it's not that we need to talk about the bad stuff, but it's part of his like s- people died in his family, right?
Yes, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we can
Yeah,
leave it there.
he
Yeah,
had a couple of unfortunate, yeah,
yeah, yeah. I remember him
stuff too
talking
soon.
about that a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
because I didn't know.
Oh,
Most
okay.
most people knew, but I didn't. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a isolated guitar player, so I know about many things.
You're a world class guitar
I
player.
can
Come on.
I can tell you about Fender guitars or whatever you want to know. I have some gear here I can talk to you about, or but yeah. Anyway, he's a sweet cat, really
Truly,
sweet.
yeah, truly. This great family. Hey, talking about guitars, how's old Blue doing? You still have old Blue?
I do. Blue hasn't been out of the case much. I retired Blue a few years ago. Now I had Blue for many, many, many years, decades, in fact,
Yes,
and it's I still have it, but I didn't have not taken it out on the road for the past few years, couple of years,
definitely.
at least, yeah. Yeah, and I had it I had it fixed. It had some problems, and but I always have had other pieces that I liked playing as much as that guitar.
Yeah,
Nothing will ever have sort of the mojo that that guitar had
no kidding, eh?
for me.
Yeah,
But
no kidding.
other instruments are more inspiring to play for me, so I've been using those.
Yeah, yeah. No, I miss old Blue. That was a great guitar you had.
It's just around the corner, actually.
Very interesting. Very good.
Yeah, it'd take me a couple minutes to get it out, though.
Yeah, well, I won't do that to you.
But
No,
I have a few cases, and I don't know which one it's in right now. But
no, I wouldn't do that to you. There's no way. But it'd be pretty cool to see it. But anyway,
well, it was a fun story. Just the quick story about the guitar was it was parts from other guitars and blah blah blah, and a tech Ken Newfield who was with me at the time said, "Let me build a guitar for you," and he says, "Let me take all these parts."
yeah.
And he put it together, and I remember going. It was a place called Conestoga College, just outside of
Oh,
Toronto,
yeah.
and we played a gig in a big cafeteria and it was sound check, and I had Blue, and I thought, okay, I'll try this thing. It kind of plays okay, and it through the amp, and the sound man came running up to the running up to the stage after about 10 seconds. Went, please use that tonight. It sounds like ridiculous out front. I was like, oh,
That
and that was the beginning of it.
was beginning of the Blue. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and it traveled well, which mattered, right? When you fly it and stuff, that thing trucks can run over it and it kind of
Still lasts.
yep,
Keeps it ticking.
that matters.
Yeah, sure
Mhm.
does. Sure does. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I was actually going to ask you too. Going back to Rockland,
Nice.
that was a great record, by the way. It was a fantastic
Thank you.
record.
Proud of that one.
So, what was it? With your highlights for you when you actually recorded Rockland?
Was the highlight for me was being in Los Angeles with Paul DeVilliers, who did Mr. Take These
Yeah,
Broken Wings.
big hit.
And he had done that. And he was the live sound man for Yes. He did some of Yes's stuff. He recorded
No kidding, eh?
a lot of Big Generator. Um, he was a great engineer, great producer. Um, and just being in Los Angeles and just that whole creative process, because I always found being in Toronto recording a bit of a challenge because, and this is going to sound weird, but you're recording in the studio, you're hearing it, and then you get it home, and I'd always be like, oh, it sounds really different. It's like,
Hmm.
where's the treble? Where's the top end? Or where's the bass? Or how come my vocal sounded like it was in the perfect spot in the studio and like it's not even there? Whereas in Los Angeles, it was like everything was amazing. You record, I'm like, okay, that sounds really good. Take it into the car. It's like, wow, that sounds exactly like I thought it would. Everything was just more accurate. It was a real creative hotbed. I found Los Angeles, and I still do find Los Angeles just a great place for creativity, and they're
Yeah.
hooked up technically. It's just a good place to be,
Yeah, sounds like it.
and
What's
the weather is
Neil?
okay too.
Oh, sorry?
And the weather is okay too
Oh, yeah, just okay.
when it's not burning down, which is very unfortunate right now.
Yeah, very true, very true. So what studio's at in LA you're going to? Oh,
Well, that was it was Paul DeVillier's personal studio, which was owned previously by the guys of Supertramp.
oh really?
So yeah, it was in Burbank, and it was just a fantastic time. It was really creative, and uh, the keyboard player who played on that record, he owned. Now you're going to have to be old to know this if you're watching, but he owned the house that they filmed Mr. Ed in.
No way.
Yeah, so it and
He Mr. Ed.
yeah, Kim what was his name? Kim, his last name was Kim. Oh,
I recall the
I'm
name.
sorry. Yeah, anyway, and he goes, and Paul goes, guess where this guy lives? And I'm like, I don't know. Where do you live? He goes, he lives in the house that they film where they filmed Mr. Ed. It has the barn in the background. I'm like, get out of here.
Really? That was a
The
good
horse still
joke.
there, you know? It's like, and he ended up playing with, I think he ended up playing with Elton John as well. Yeah, he did.
You did, eh? Yeah. Wow.
Like, it was a great keyboard player. He was a fantastic guy. He was so funny.
Yeah, very cool. So I
I,
love your stories, man. It's excellent stuff so far. Excellent, excellent.
is it okay?
It's excellent, man.
Everybody
It's not
tuning
just okay, it's excellent.
who's tuning out. Okay.
Excellent.
My cup says less meat, more vegetables. A lot of things on here.
It's a busy cup you got there.
Yes. There's way too many things on this cup to read right now.
No kidding, yeah. It's just too busy, too busy. Well, I'm gonna ask you too, like on it's a bit of a somber note. Of course, we lost Neil earlier this past year. Did you want to make any comments about as far as like your experience with Neil and so forth?
Yeah, yeah. It first of all, yeah, it's really bad because how many? That's a lot of hits a guy took. He lost his first wife, he lost
Yeah,
his daughter, but he did have a great career, and he lived large, and he was well respected for what
yeah,
he did, and that's kind of all we can ask for in life, I think. Do what you do, love what you do it well. Do something for the human race, human beings or the planet. Um, I get an image of Neil. A couple of things that come to mind, which are there's a scene that I'll always remember, which was just backstage somewhere, and it was often all the time when we toured with Rush, and he'd be standing backstage somewhere, maybe between sound check or before dinner or somewhere, and he always had his book and a cigarette, this chrome cigarette package on top of the book. And he'd always be sort of kind of serious, kind of looking around. He'd be kind of friendly. Once he knew you, he'd speak with you.
hmm
If he didn't know you, there wouldn't be a lot of chit chat.
yeah. I had that impression.
He'd
Yeah,
be standing there chatting away, and I always loved the way he would break out into laughter as soon as Alex would walk up, Alex Lifeson, because
yeah.
Alex was always
The
a
Joker.
comedian. It always, always. I don't know. There wasn't very many serious moments with Alex. So Alex used to just walk up in a hallway of a gig and all of a sudden say something, and all of a sudden I always picture Neil doing this thing like, his head would go back, he had his mustache, and his cigarette pack and his book, and it's just that's sort of what I remember about Neil. And I also remember that Neil played when we open up for Neil, or when we open up for Rush. Neil would play every night during our set. He played along with our band.
Is that right?
Nobody knew that. His drums were scrimmed.
Wow.
Nobody could see him. So that was his way of warming up. So he
Interesting.
would walk up on stage. And so what we're hearing on stage is two drummers. And he checked with us. Obviously he would check with our drummer. It's like, and we're like, yeah, sure. And our drummer's like, yeah, man. And it sounded great on stage because he would play sort of almost exactly what our drummer was playing, but
Very
none of the
nice.
microphones were on. So nobody really knew that was going on.
I never heard that ever. In all the years I've been reading about you guys in Russia, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That's
But
fascinating.
played along with us. Yep. Every night.
Oh wow. And what about you guys wrote Battlescar? How did that come about? The classic
That
Battlescar.
was their idea. They stood on the side of the stage when we played that tune. And then I think it was Getty who said one night, "Hey man, if you guys ever record that, like call us up. We'll come join you." We're like, "Okay."
Yeah, really.
Because they were starting to do this, right?
Yeah, right.
And that isn't really this isn't why. We all loved each other
Yeah.
and respected each other. They taught us a lot about our attitude towards music, and it's your life, it's your music. Forget record companies, forget what people are, forget all that chatter on the outside. It's your life. It's you do it. You do it and take whatever that brings. And that was a great lesson from them. And that's how it came about. So
Interesting.
we were going to record it, and we called them up and went, "Remember you when you guys said blah blah blah?" And they went, "Yeah." So how's this date? Okay. And it was amazing. Two bands set up. We had to get all the tape machines and microphones all synced up, and we had it on the first take.
Wow.
But I think we ended up doing, I think, under 20 takes, but somewhere between 10 and 20 takes, just because we were having so much fun playing the song, because it sounded like a 747 taking off. We had two bands in the studio, like, "Rah!"
Yeah, really.
This amps going, there wasn't like little, modeling stuff that they have now. It was like real amps and then two drummers blasting away, bass player. The only thing we didn't do because it was too loud was the vocals. We did the vocals after.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Saying it was just like, who can hear anything?
Explosion of sound in your ears.
Yeah. Alex, we did a Christmas thing recently for Andy Kim, and Alex came out and played with us.
Oh, what was that? What was that when he joined you guys? What was that?
That was around Christmas. It was an Andy Kim
Christmas.
Christmas special that he does live, and Alex came out to play with a bunch of people who play with Tom Cochran and some other Canadians, and he came out and did Battle Scar with us and a couple other songs.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy. He likes to play guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because to me, that's what I thought. It's a great marriage. When you
What a stupid thing I just said. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, he likes to play guitar. Are you kidding, Kim? Really? Well,
It's amazing.
I admire that because I don't like to play guitar. I like to garden.
That's your first hobby. Your first love's gardening.
Yeah, guitar is like whatever.
It's way down the list.
Yeah. Now,
Well, that's great. I'll actually ask you too, like, because you're a big prog rock guy. Who are your top three all-time bands in prog rock? Tough call.
well, I can't. Geez. In the dead of night, in the dead of night. Band had Ellen Holdsworth in it and Bill Bruford.
Oh, is that King Crimson?
Well, King Crimson, we can add that. No, it was In the Dead of Night. I'd have to Google it right now.
Okay.
but I'm not going to because I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly.
In the dead of night, yeah, went to see them actually with Rush on a night off. Okay, so yeah, King Crimson. Let's do the big ones. Okay, yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's up there.
yeah, yes, because vocally and songwriting. What I loved about Yes was some of these prog rock bands were all about math, calculators and slide rulers, whereas Yes were all about the song still.
Yes,
Uh,
that's right.
that's what I loved about that. Um, Genesis,
Yeah.
who actually we played with once, and the funny part about that gig was it was outdoors. I think it was about 23,000 people outside, and our drummer Gary, we're playing our set, and it's big, it's big. We're not used to this, but we're getting on pretty good. The band sounds good on stage, and I turn around and our drummer, it's this summer, and he's sweating like 3 times what he'd sweat. Like I'm like, and I go back to him like partway through a song, and go, "Are you okay? Should we stop?" He's like, "No," and he goes like this, and I look over, it's Phil Collins and Chester Thompson are standing on the side.
That's some heavy eyes watching you there in
Yeah,
the drum
yeah,
department.
yeah. Okay, I get it. Sweat on, brother. That happened to me though when we play with Van Halen. I look over and there's Eddie Van Halen standing on the side of the stage. I'm like, yeah,
Gonna play at that point in time, eh?
yeah. He's a nice dude though.
Yeah, that's cool.
Came into the dressing room after him, and it was the Sammy Hagar era, and he came in. Him
Oh,
and Sammy came into the dressing room after, and we yacked away. It was fantastic. He was a real cool dude.
yeah, he seems very cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And who are your top three Canadian rock bands of all time? Tough question.
Yeah, it is. Rock bands
Yeah, rock bands out of Canada.
out of Canada. Okay, let's do well, we're gonna have to do Rush.
Yeah, gotta do Rush in there for
We're
sure.
gonna do April Wine.
Oh, huh? Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do good question, Noel. I'm gonna do there's so many. I can't do three.
Yeah, I know it's a
Because
tough one.
because Lee Aaron was great. Alana Miles in her day was amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty hot when she came out.
This is my dog Webster.
Webster, very fitting name. Very fitting name.
That's what was his name. He was a rescue, and his name was Webster. Um, we've played a lot with Trooper. I love Trooper. I love Streetheart. I loved
Oh, that's right.
Loverboy. Um, Tea Party.
Yeah,
I'm
great
going to
band.
say one of my favorite musicians and guitar players in Canada, though, is I'm going to say the band. Actually, I'll just say the band, Big
The
Red.
band, eh? Yeah. Robbie Robertson. Yeah, Robbie Robertson, the band.
Robbie
Yeah, yeah,
Roberts of
yeah.
the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, that's not rock to me.
No, no,
Something else.
no.
Yeah. But
Somewhere in the middle there.
yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna say Big Wreck, Tea Party. One of my favorite rock bands are not Canadian, but Rival Sons.
No way. I actually love those guys.
Yeah, yeah, I love Rival Sons. When I was in radio, they came into the studio. I'm lo and behold, what are they doing in my studio? They should have been in the Edge, which was the younger, like we were playing classic rock, but they came in and they were cool, man. They played live. I mixed them
Yeah.
live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I myself mixed them, like, and holy smokes, they lit up the place.
Yeah,
What
I
a
mean
what
that's
a
pretty amazing. You like them. Very cool.
oh my god, it's so vibey.
'Cause I thought I love the record that the Western Valkyrie record came out in 2014, 2015.
Yeah,
Just a great, great record, that one.
yeah, fantastic. It's like all the elements of rock that I love,
Yeah,
greasy and loose,
yeah. Kind
and
of psychedelic at times, and
yeah, yeah, exactly. Psychedelic at times, but like really in control of whatever vibe they're going into,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Jumping into that psychedelic vibe, but boy, are they nailing it.
Sure are.
And then the, yeah. So
So underrated too. I think it's so underrated as a band.
I think they've done well.
I find I find over here you don't really hear much talk about them. It's like they should be more talked about. That's what my experience.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Fair enough, but I don't think they're hurting.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think they're hurting.
Yeah,
But
they're doing world tours.
yeah,
They're doing well.
yeah. Well, hey man, we're actually out of time already. This has been a great interview,
Thank
and
you.
actually love to have you back on the show again soon if it's possible.
That'll cost you the next time, Noel.
Well, dig deep my pockets here next
No, I'll get my people to call you. It's a real
Great.
pleasure speaking with you, man, and
You too, man.
continued success. And
Thank you, thank
what
you.
do you got coming up?
I got Honeymoon Suite on next weekend.
Oh, Derry, one of my favorite guitar players. Okay, there's one of my favorite bands, and I'll
Right
tell
on.
you why. I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
Because every time we play with Honeymoon Suite, or anytime have seen them, it's like there's a switch turns on. It's like bang, and they instantly sound great. They
yeah.
play great. It's not like how bands like they come on stage like okay that
Yeah, I
song.
got to feel
By,
that process.
by the third song, you're kind of like okay, all right, okay. They're like bang, it's there. I'm like
Yeah,
what? How do you do that?
so
He's such a
true.
great guitar player. Oh my god.
No doubt. It's also so ironic for me is I've seen both you guys live together in 84, 85
And
in
he was
Belleville.
better. And he was better.
So very cool, very cool. Hey Kim, I gotta have you back on the show again soon, I hope.
We'll see you later, man.
We'll
How
see
do
you
I
there,
leave?
man.
Do I hit the leave button?
Well, Charlie, hold on 1 second here. So, folks, this is Kim Mitchell, of course, the music icon, Kim Mitchell, here on the show. So, folks, of course, the show can be heard on the BarnBurner Radio Network on all of its 122 platforms. Please check out barnburner.ca for all the news. BarnBurner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Thanks, everyone, and